Hello and welcome to our first show of the 80s. And in keeping with the spirit of things, tonight we look at the immediate future through the eyes of some of our leaders. Dennis Reinhardt reports on what seems certain to become a major battle over Premier Joe's plans for a nuclear industry in Queensland. We look at a fascinating but dreadfully time-consuming hobby. And Anne, I think you've got a story with quite an impact.
Yes, Haydn, we've covered what I believe is a case of heartless bureaucracy at its very worst.
All right, we'll look forward to that story later, but first the outlook for the 80s. Despite the turmoil in other parts of the world, 1980 will be a boom year for Queensland, well, for Australia, but particularly Queensland. Joe Bjelke-Petersen will step down as Premier of Queensland at the end of the year. We'll probably re-elect a federal Liberal government in the 1980 elections. Now, these are a few of the predictions of the 80s from Brisbane astrologer Roy Owen. We gave Roy the birth dates of several well-known personalities and politicians, and he came up with the future as told by the stars. He gave Chris Allen the details.
Position of the sun at the date of birth, which is called sidereal time, to which we add the birth time.
Roy Owen has been an astrologer for 30 years. Given someone's exact date of birth, Roy claims he can predict what will happen to them every day for the rest of their life. Once we're born, Roy says we're locked into a pattern that is predictable because the movement of the stars is predictable. He says astrology works because it's scientific and bases its predictions on mathematical calculations.
There are people who are psychic that can see things visually, but we definitely just use mathematics. We don't try to use any other form of subjectivity or intuition or anything like that.
Do you rule your life by astrology?
Not every day, just periodically you look up to see what's been going on or what's liable to come up. I don't believe in doing it too closely. It's more fun to know what's, to be surprised. You know, to have something happen rather than know exactly what's going to happen. In fact, I don't think you can tell exactly. It's too complex, much too complex for humans, really.
Looking at some of the predictions you made there for next year, say starting with Joe Bjelke-Petersen, our Premier, what can you see for next year for him?
Well, he's already mentioned a couple of years ago that he might quit politics in October 1980, and his chart sort of backs this up. There's a very strong change in his life coming in around October, as Pluto squares his Sun and Neptune. This is normally a dramatic change of direction. And when this happens, you can only predict that obviously he would change his position, not possibly because of losing an election, but he actually by choice would internally feel that he might be doing something else. He'd prefer to be doing something else, and this is what I've based it on. I think he's getting tired and he wants to change, and I think he finds the restrictions of office rather tight.
So he'll retire next year?
I believe so. Could be wrong, but that's what I'm thinking.
Anything else?
There's some plans going wrong in August, and then some family problems, but then he has a period when he needs to rest, and all of these things can lead up to this type of thing when somebody wants to quit. He'll certainly be overworking in August, but